Hi, this is for MBA HR students of IIM Ranchi, 2020-2022 batch. Yesterday in the class, we were supposed to discuss two more issues. One issue was how do you define the performance of a postgraduate student at your institute? Second was how do you define the performance of a CHRO with six juniors reporting to her in a 500 employee financial services company? I'm sure you have given enough thought to this. Unfortunately, I could only listen to your third presentation on the performance plan for a typical week for a student. Even that, I had raised some questions. Now, here are my thoughts. These are thoughts, these are conclusive, these are all the time evolving. First, performance of a postgraduate student at the institute. Certainly, unquestionably, the grades is an important indicator of the performance. But in my view, grades is only a part indicator of the performance. The other dimensions of performance are how much have you attended classes and listened to the talk and absorbed whatever is said. Unfortunately, whatever is said in the class, whatever preparation you have to do, and how much you have listened, how much you have acquired, how much you have discussed with your colleagues are not necessarily tested in the exams. So, exams is only one of the indicators, or the grades are one of the indicators of your performance at IIM Ranchi. And in the absence of any other indicator, we go by this. Even you are the people who come to recruit you not are not merely satisfied with grades. In some of the institutes, they don't even look at the grades. They look at asking questions about what you have learned in some of the subjects that are relevant to you. For example, if you are a HR student, if you have not heard of some of the famous contributors in the field of HR in India and cannot name some of the HR leaders in the country or across the world, or cannot talk of HR subsystems, or will not be able to talk of what you recollect from the lectures you have attended by some of the great teachers that you have had during the 2 year tenure, I think you don't make much of an impact. That means your performance has not been good. Yes, to a large extent, unfortunately, in the whole world, many of the things work on memory. You should develop memory. But if you are passionate about something, memory takes care of itself largely. There are individual variations, but if you are passionate, I think you. When I was a student of BSc, Mathematics, Physics, and Chemistry at Loyola College, I was too young to understand anything. It was rote memory. Our objective was to pass the exams. I only remember some of the concepts that were taught, but I never understood what these concepts were. I passed the exam with a decent second class, was wanting to go for MSc Chemistry. When I was told by the principal of Loyola College, you're too young to understand Masters in Chemistry. I suggest you work for a couple of years as a demonstrator in the college. Then you will be more mature to be able to. I didn't understand what he meant, but of course I followed his advice, and of course he got me an application form to be registered in a new college that was started by the NCRT and Ohio State University called as Regional College of Education, Mysore. Now, when I went to Regional College of Education, I continued to be one of the youngest in the group, but I never missed a single class. Not only I missed, I enjoyed every bit of what has been taught. I had excellent teachers. I think three of them are no more. Dr. Prafulan Dave, who just returned from USA, he used to get rats to the classroom and teach us how rats learn. P.R. Nair, Dr. C.L. Anand, who was Northeastern University Vice Chancellor later and died very recently, just last year. I remember every bit of whatever they have said about various educational systems. It was they who transformed my life because at the end of my 1 year B.Ed, when I topped the class simply by listening to the lectures, I used to read all the other books, but in the class I listened very attentively what they have said. And they noticed something in me, and then they said that, look, you will be wasting your life if you go for chemistry. Why don't you do your master's in psychology? I went to do my master's in psychology. Even for that, they have helped and topped the university at that particular point of time. And to me, this was the best learning I have had. every bit of what I have learned in my B.Ed and every bit of what I have learned in my Master's in Psychology. Even today, I am amazed about the lack of basic knowledge which I have learned in the year 1965 to 66 and 66 to 68 in my Master in Psychology when I meet some of the scholars in psychology and so on. So, friends, what I want to say is performance of a student is not merely measured by grades, by measured by the passion he has for subjects, what he or she discovers, and also how you use the institution to get the best out of the institution. It's as much a responsibility on your part to get the best of the institution. What are the activities you are involved in? How did you, if you are a, let us say, representative, how did you manage? If you are not a representative, how did you manage your life? All these things matter in terms of making the assessment of a performance of a student. When it comes to a CHRO with 6 juniors reporting to him, I think the performance of the CHRO is measured in terms of how well he has been able to develop motivation, commitment, and competence levels. I mean, as I mentioned, HRD is competence building, culture building, commitment building. And how did you manage various stakeholders? Most importantly, did you do anything that helped the customers? Did you do anything that helped your employees? Did you do anything that made your employers happy, stakeholders happy? Did you do anything that helped your colleagues happy? And on the top of all of it, what did you do to build the leadership and other capabilities of the 6 juniors who are working with you? Does every one of these 500 employees remember you? And they say that, look, this HR person and the HR policies made some difference. These are all some of the indicators. I don't want to get too much into these details. I hope you will learn by the end of this performance management course a lot more about performance of a CHRO. Just to share some thoughts, continue to pay attention to whatever we discuss in the class. Thank you and all the best from TVRLS.